Pale Fire by Nabakov, Canto 2, Part 1. There was a time in my demented youth when somehow I suspected that the truth about survival after death was known to every human being. I alone knew nothing, and a great conspiracy of books and people hid the truth from me. There was the day when I began to doubt man's sanity. How could he live without knowing for sure what dawn, what death, what doom awaited consciousness beyond the tomb? And finally, there was the sleepless night when I decided to explore and fight the foul, the inadmissible abyss, devoting all my twisted life to this one task. Today I'm 61. Waxwings are a berry pecking. A cicada sings. The little scissors I am holding are a dazzling synthesis of sun and star. I stand before the window and I pare my fingernails, and vaguely am aware of certain flinching likeness. The thumb, our grocer's son, the index, lean and glum, college astronomer, star over blue, the middle fellow, a tall priest I knew, the feminine fourth finger, an old flirt, and little Pinky clinging to her skirt. And I make mouths as I snip off the thin strips of what Aunt Maud used to call scarf skin. Maud Shade was 80 when a sudden hush fell on her life. We saw the angry flush and torsion of paralysis assail her noble cheek. We moved her to Pinedale, famed for its sanitarium. There she'd sit in the glassed sun and watch the fly that lit upon her dress and then upon her wrist. Her mind kept fading in the growing mist. She could still speak. She paused, then groped, and found what seemed at first to be a serviceable sound, but from adjacent cells, impostors took the place of words she needed, and her look spelt imploration as she sought in vain to reason with the monsters in her brain. What moment in the gradual decay does resurrection choose? What year, what day? Who has the stopwatch? Who rewinds the tape? Are some less lucky, or do all escape? A syllogism. Other men die, but I am not another, therefore I'll not die. Space is a swarming in the eyes, and time a singing in the ears. In this hive I'm locked up. Yet, if prior to life we had been able to imagine life, what mad, impossible, and utterly weird, wonderful nonsense it might have appeared. So why join in the vulgar laughter? Why scorn a hereafter none can verify? The Turk's delight, the future liars, the talks with Socrates and Proust in Cyprus walks, the seraph with his 6 flamingo wings and Flemish hells with porcupines and things. It isn't that we dream too wild a dream. The trouble is we do not make it seem sufficiently unlikely. For the most we can think up is a domestic ghost. How ludicrous these efforts to translate into one's private tongue a public fate. Instead of poetry, divinely terse, disjointed notes, insomnia's mean verse. Life is a message scribbled in the dark, anonymous, espied on a pine's bark. As we were walking home the day she died, an empty emerald suitcase, squat and frog-eyed, hugging the trunk and its companion piece, a gum-logged ant. That Englishman in Nice, a proud and happy linguist, je nourris les pauvres cigales, meaning that he fed the poor seagulls. La Fontaine was wrong. Dead is the mandible, alive is the song. And so I pare my nails and muse and hear your steps upstairs, and all is right, my dear. Sybil, throughout our high school days, I knew your loveliness, but fell in love with you during an outing of the senior class to New Y Falls, We luncheoned on damp grass. Our teacher of geology discussed the cataract, its roar, its rainbow dust, made the tame park romantic. I reclined in April's haze immediately behind your slender back and watched your neat small head bend to one side, one palm with fingers spread between a star of trillium and a stone pressed on the turf. A little phalange bone kept twitching. Then you turned and offered me a thimbleful of bright metallic tea. Your profile has not changed, the glistening teeth biting the careful lip, the shade beneath, the eyes from the long lashes, the peachy down rimming the cheekbone, the dark silky brown of hair brushed up from temple and from nape, the very naked neck, the Persian shape of nose and eyebrow. You have kept it all, and on nights we hear the waterfall. Come and be worshipped, come and be caressed, my dark Vanessa, crimson barred, my blessed, my admirable butterfly. Explain, how could you, in the gloam of Lilac Lane, have yet let uncouth, hysterical John Shade blubber your face and ear and shoulder blade? We have been married 40 years, at least. 4,000 times your pillow has been creased by our two heads. 400,000 times the tall clock with the hoarse Westminster chimes has marked our common hour. How many more free calendars shall grace the kitchen door? I love you when you're standing on the lawn, peering at something in a tree. It's gone. It was so small. It might come back, all this, voiced in a whisper, softer than a kiss. I love you when you call me to admire a jet's pink trail above the sunset fire. I love you when you're humming as you pack a suitcase or the farcical car sack with round-trip zipper, and I love you most when, with a pensive nod, you greet her ghost and hold her first toy on your palm or look at a postcard from her found in a book. That is part one.